Hello, welcome to July 29th, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is a video exercise that I do every morning or at around 5:30 a.m. I do this to remember my life's objectives and principles so that I'm living in accordance with my values. Those objectives and principles are described, detailed, tabulated, calibrated in my book, contextualized in my book, Going Alone. Contextualized means that I couch the values within the story from which they emerged in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. You can also get a copy if you want from Amazon or any bookstore. Just go in and ask, they'll get a copy for you. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any particular challenges or opportunities of note. Of note meaning exceptional challenges or opportunities where I either did well or I did poorly. I want to examine both of those because they both warrant, they both merit attention. I also talk about the larger climactic, in terms of, atmosphere and climate of my life. And I then recite the 8 objectives of my creed and one of the principles. This is my way of studying. This is a way of fulfilling my mandate to both adopt my creed, but also to maintain it. And then finally, I plan for the coming day. But first, hey there, new subscribers. Got a nice bunch of you yesterday. Welcome to the channel. I'm Kurt. I'm a 61-year-old American man, retired. I'm married to a Japanese woman. Her name is Yumiko. She's asleep in the next room. We live here in Japan in the house that we bought about 6 months ago. We retired from our careers and lives in the United States and made our 5th and final venture across the Pacific Ocean, switching countries over the 40 years we've been together, to settle here in our final home. So hopefully I'll be at this balcony doing this for a long time to come. I also do other videos. I was once known as a mountain adventurer here in Japan. Don't do that so much anymore. I call that the softypapa 1.0 years. Now that I'm older, beyond the working years, beyond the active parent years, I've settled into a kind of a new and different softypapa 2.0. And we'll see where that heads. I'm only six or 7 months into it. With that said, I do want to let you know that this is a personal journal video. This is not a video where I'm sharing Japan. This is a video for me. It's just like opening a diary and writing in a journal for the purpose of partially to record what happens, but that's not the main objective. The main thing, and the reason I do this publicly, is for me to reflect on the last 24 hours. Because I don't want to just live my life. I want to live a well-engaged, purpose-driven life where each day yields good outcome and benefit in proportion to the energies that I put into it. And I don't want to waste my time. I do talk about sensitive subjects. For example, I don't believe in God. I don't believe I have a soul. I believe that death is eternal and an emptying away of life into an absolute nothingness and void from which we'll never return. I talk about that frequently in my videos, almost daily. I talk about death. I don't couch it in that language so much as to simply say that I'm trying to prepare myself to die, which unsettles people. People get uncomfortable when I talk about that. So just be warned, not only did I just talk about it, but I will talk about it again in this video and with every video that I make in this series. I also do other videos. I do a daily retiring in Japan video where I summarize the day's events. I just finished editing that video, so that will upload that today, this morning, and captures yesterday. It's kind of like that's more active journaling of the life, but that's done for the purpose of sharing. This video, this Good Life meditation, the one you'll see in your feed that has my mug staring out at you, this is one where it's about me. So I'm talking about me, my life, and I can go anywhere I want. So be forewarned. You can leave comments if you like. I won't read their comments though until I'm done. I will respond to them, at least the nice ones. All right, I do want to say a huge thank you to those who watch my videos. I am retired. I'm living on a fixed income. Those who are my members on YouTube and my supporters on Patreon, deep thank you and gratitude to you. You help to fuel my adventures, fuel the things that I do that allow me to share on YouTube and etc. I do want to remind everybody that if you are a member or a patron supporter, you do have now discount codes for my YouTube store. I do have a YouTube store. You can find it. Just go to the YouTube channel and go to the shop tab, and you'll see a preview there. I think there's 50 items in there, and that leads you to my fourth wall store, which has, I think I'm closing in on over 75 items there, antique items that are interesting items from Japan. So thank you. Okay, disclaimer, thank you, and small commercial out of the way. Let's do a quick check of the temperature and humidity. It is currently at, we're just past 5:30 a.m. It is 24 degrees Celsius, of course, and 84% humidity, according to my handy dandy here. The temperature is just dipping out of it, just rising out of the green zone over there, and the humidity is way up there. By the way, I did get this new old thermometer. It's over 60 years old thermometer at the flea market this weekend, and I'm going to mount it somewhere so I can keep an eye on that as well. And I calibrated it against this, and it looks like, I thought when I bought it at the flea market that it was a broken thermometer. How does the thermometer broke? It's the simplest device in the world. It's perfectly fine. It's measuring the exact same temperature in both devices. So I thought I'll put that, probably I'll put that inside maybe so I can see the temperature on the inside. Neat item, and this is going to get listed in the store. I hawk everything in my life, all the stuff, all the decorative stuff in my life. Half the stuff you see that's in this frame right here is for sale. All right, let's get started in earnest. Now, the next note I have here is the last 24 hours. I'm going to go over what like I said before, I'll go over what was exceptional, good or bad, and I'll talk about the climate of my life. There's one note here and then three subnotes. The note here says, this is significant. It says, best day since retirement. And three subnotes. And I subnoted them by putting little stars there. They're pretty significant. And I did that because by the way of exclamation. It says, best day ever since retirement, subnotes, full power, productive and fun, alive again. And alive again was underlined. Now what do I mean by that? Well, if you had asked me yesterday to assess the prior day, which was Sunday, I would have told you that that was the best day since retirement. But then yesterday was better. Why? And I know why. I won't bury the lead. It's because I've gone back to work, and I've gone back to work on my own terms, and I've gone back to work in such a way. And who knew? And I didn't see this coming. All the machinations and thoughts and spreadsheets and stuff. I didn't factor this in. I didn't realize that if I went back into my business, my antique business, my merchandising business, my eBay business mainly, that I did before because I lived in Japan a long time ago, and I was a full-time antique dealer for 5 years, and it beat the crap out of me, and I didn't love antiques after that, and it took me 17 years to regain that interest, going away from Japan for a decade and then, or 11 years, and then coming back, and I regained it. It's like it's like having oysters and getting a bad oyster, right? And you don't want oysters for 5 years, right? And then finally you've kind of forgotten about that bad oyster effect, and you like oysters again. Okay, I like antiques again. But I remember being an antique dealer before, and remember that life being fraught with stress and hard work and difficulty and pain. And did I mention stress? Because I was supporting a family doing that. I had to make an income. I didn't, in all my calculations, I didn't model the idea of reopening my antique store without the necessity of making money and what that would do to the experience. And what it does to the experience is it's like guaranteeing every oyster you're going to have for the rest of your oyster loving life will be a good, healthy, and I don't like oysters, so that's a bad example, but they're good because some people don't, a lot of us don't. But if you're guaranteed you're going to have a good oyster for the rest of your life, you're never going to get a sour one. Or like, okay, pistachios, right? When you're, oh, let's take that. You know how when you're eating pistachios, and once in a while you're not looking, right? You're just taking off the shells and putting it off. Every now and then you get a bad pistachio. It's like you get some guarantee that, you know, you got the pistachio, you know, manager that, or somebody that, you know, that vets the pistachios before they get to you for the rest of your life. That's exactly what it feels like reopening my eBay store. And I keep saying eBay, even though I do have the Fourth Wall YouTube store. I keep saying eBay, and that's for a reason. Because eBay feels like the past, because that's the venue that I used in the past. Being back on eBay is like, I keep coming up with all these metaphors. It's like dating a girl from high school that you had a crush on but broke your heart. But, you know, you meet her later in life and she's not going to break your heart again. Now, eBay, it wasn't, my business failure wasn't eBay's fault, but you get it. I get enough of these metaphors, analogies, similes, whatever the hell they are. You get the idea. If you follow the arc of the last 7 months, if you've watched enough of these videos, you'll know that I had 2 weeks of bliss when I first retired and came to Japan, then followed by about 2 months of, you know, kind of a restless, this is great, you know, it's like going to a concert, and, you know, you think the show's going to start, and you're like, it all feels good, but you're not so sure, because it was kind of winding down, and then followed by a couple of months of, what am I doing with myself? And then I felt lost for a while. And then I started to realize that well, I need to keep busy. And then I started keeping myself busy doing various things, and then none of it did the job. And then I landed on work. This was only a couple of weeks ago, and I realized, well, I hate work, but I feel good when I have a good day of work. There's something to that. I hate work, but I feel good when I work. I hate work, but I feel good when I work. Well, what was it that I hated about work? Well, I hated the stress. I didn't quite see it together. I hadn't put all that together yet. So I started dabbling in work. I applied for a couple of jobs. I felt good just applying. Haven't heard back from them. I won't hear back from them because they want a full-time employees. I offered part-time, even though I'm right here. I'm glad I didn't hear back from them because I don't want to do that. I don't want to be an English teacher. But I started playing around with my business in earnest, my online business. And then I dove in head first. I said, I'm going to start treating this like a job. And I haven't even really started to do that in earnest, but that's not going to begin until next week. I'm planning to, beginning in August, I'm going to treat this like a full-time job, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. This is going to be my work. What I didn't see, and I've said it like 3 times now, is that although I didn't say it explicitly yet, a single time yet, here I will say it explicitly now. You can literally have your cake and eat it too. The cake being the work that yields the good feeling. Eating it too is working without stress. Because, now, others, Tim, I think if you're out there, you will remember, you know, and I think Evelyn, you've mentioned it as well, you know, the one thing a day. You know, in my notebook here, I always I prepare a page every day, and the last thing I'll do is I'll go over the next 24 hours, planning what I'm going to do today. And I only have one thing every day. I kind of limit myself. I say, in retirement, I'm not gonna start the day of retirement with a half dozen or 8 or 10 things to do and a to-do list. To hell with that. That's kind of me pretending to be like a retired guy, right? You know, mow the lawn, and that's it. So my one thing a day, let's call it 2 things a day, since I started working in earnest, is I list something in my store, and I ship something to a customer. Now, by virtue of that mandate, it's pretty simple to do. That means I've got the full morning to list something and the full afternoon to ship something. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, not a problem to do. So I started doing it, and the business is picking up. It's gained traction. It's doing its thing. I mean, I know how to do it. I mean, I didn't forget. It was 17 years ago, but it's pretty simple. And I don't have to learn all the mistakes again because I did all the mistakes before. So the business is taking off. You might have to work to control it. You know, I don't want it to take off too much because that's where the stress comes from, right? The stress comes from trying to make a living at it, and the stress comes from getting in over my head. So I've got to manage both. So back to the point. Best day since retirement. Yesterday was definitely the best day since retirement. I had a fun day. I was busy all day. I listed 2 items, 1 antique and 1 product. I've adjusted that mantra of list 1, ship 1, list 1, ship 1, list 2, ship 1. List 2 is I'm going to list 1 antique item. Today's antique item is right here. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then 1 inventory item. That's a new item that I can make a 1 listing of and then sell over and over and over. It's the bread and butter generator, right? And it's going to be this one. I'll share about both of those in a moment. Let's look at these subtext notes. Full power. I was fully engaged yesterday. I felt like my mind and my body were active all day long, and I like that feeling. The second bullet note here, star note, is productive and fun, building on that other one. Full power, productive and fun. I was literally having fun. If you watch today's Retiring in Japan video, the upload that captures yesterday's events, you'll see it throughout the video because I just finished editing it, so I got to watch the whole thing while I was editing it. My edits are very simple, just piecing them together, splicing them together. I could see it in my face and my attitude. I was having fun. It was a good day, even out in the sun. And then once again, alive again, and underline. I really felt good. I felt alive. I felt alive the way that I used to feel after a good day of work, when I really felt like I had earned my bread for the day, when I really felt like I had fulfilled my duty as a breadwinner and as a parent. And that came back yesterday. It was all there on a Tuesday. What a worthy Tuesday. No, today's Tuesday. It was a Monday, but an even more worthy Monday. So enough of that. I have found the secret sauce for my life at this point. Now, I'm not saying that this is how I'm going to spend the next 10, let's say 5, 10, 20, if I'm lucky, 30 years of retirement. I'm a student of Emerson, you know. Consistency, as Emerson would say, consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. So I'm not going to say that this is going to be the way, but this is, at least, if it's not a way of life for me, it is a vehicle to get me to the next stage. It is something that I can fall back on if I get lost in retirement. And but I have a feeling this is going to be the way of my life, because it yields a lot of interesting things, right? Working is fun, it's productive, it's healthy, it earns money that I can then, like, it's my wife's birthday next week. I'm making some money on YouTube. I'm very careful about segregating all the funds, right? So the online world money comes in through business, softypapa, stuff like that, all comes into a specific bank account. Money's piling up in that account by virtue of the fact that I'm working again. So I'm going to take her out to a nice restaurant. That feels good. I couldn't have done that as easily, if I wasn't working again. I'd take her out to a mediocre restaurant. But I'm going to take her out to a nice one now. Okay, enough about yesterday. Yesterday was a phenomenal day. There were no instances of me really stumbling over myself. Although, even if I was stumbling over myself yesterday, I would have taken it more on my stride. I wouldn't have cared so much. Like when I was working fully, I really didn't. I mean, the small stuff, like I say, don't sweat the small stuff. Here in the first 7 months of retirement, I've got these page after page of small stuff. Because kind of that was the thing I was focusing on. Interesting, huh? I'm not saying, again, I'll just disclaim again, I'm not saying that this is the permanent solution or that I found the way I'm going to spend the rest of my life. I simply have found something that's working now, a vehicle that's working now, and really has yielded results. Hallelujah. And I did promise that I would, before I continue, I'd show you what I'm going to be listing today before the sun rises in earnest. This is the antique I'm going to list. It's the Tanuki figure. I got this over the weekend at the at the antique fair that we were at. I really like this one. It's pretty rare that you find like kind of crafty looking, menge looking Tanuki like this. That's going to go in, that's ceramic, nice heavy weighty ceramic. That's going to go in, I'll be listing that immediately after I finish this video. And these are crackers, shrimp crackers that I got yesterday. I went out and researched these, looking for kind of a traditional Japanese snack to add to the store, and I did some research on that. That one will list as well. Now it is getting, there's kind of a dew in the air. Let me put this inside, at least put it over here, because so the condensation, not that I can get through the bag. Okay, let's carry on. My creed consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. Again, you can read about those in Going Along. The 8 objectives are to be always ready to die, to have my affairs in order, my relationships in good shape, and my life's work complete. Check, 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 they are. Although, boy, it sure feels like I have a new life's work, doesn't it? Although this isn't life's work, doing this business, this isn't life's work. This is vocation, right? It's not even vocation, because I don't need to do it. It's a hobby. It's a paying hobby. It's a fun paying hobby. My second objective is to make good and effective use of my time. They're different, right? Good use of the time means in alignment. Good is in alignment with my values. Effective means yielding results. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's what I'm doing exactly right now. The whole reason I make this video every day is to tinker and tune. Think of me as like a car guy with the hood of his 1970 Camaro Rally Sport up, and he's tinkering with the engine. That's what I'm doing. I'm tinkering with my creed right now by examining my creed relative to my life, which is the proving ground for that creed. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, so I respond well to challenging things. 5 is to perform good actions relative to my creed. 6 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. 7 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, so I don't reach for things that are beyond my grasp. And sometimes you can maneuver and get to it, right? But I watched a crow yesterday trying to get a snack out of a tube using a tool, right? And I was thinking about that because I was thinking, yeah, it's outside the scope of that crow's reach, but it was able to find a little tool, a stick to stick through the hole to get it out. I have to keep that in mind when I'm remembering #limits. Sometimes you can find a way, even if it appears to be a limit, right? And number 8 is to maintain my balance in both body and mind so that I'm not stumbling over myself in my words and my deeds. Oh, yesterday there was one thing that was kind of there was one thing. Let me go back. There was something that I can talk about that was a challenging moment for me. So I'm listing I'm a lot of tea. I'm selling a lot of tea. Tea is turning out to be a really popular item. And I'm really lucky. Okay, this is me talking business. Sorry, commercial time. But I'm really, really lucky that I live in the Valley of Tea in Shizuoka Prefecture, which is the capital of green tea for Japan. Okay, some people might say Kyoto, but leave them alone. Shizuoka is the place. We got Mount Fuji too. We can put it on our packaging. Anyway, really, this is it. And this is the Valley of Tea. Now, I'm really, really lucky in that my daughter went to school with a girl whose family are family friends of ours. The mothers were worked together in the children's group and PTA and stuff like that. And their factory is just down the road from us here. And they're one of the premier makers of tea, blenders of tea in all of Japan. They started their business in 1875. They're currently the 8th generation, training the 9th generation right now of tea masters. They buy their tea from the Valley of Tea farmers here, and they blend this tea, and their name is the Mochizuki family. So I get my tea from them. And I have now currently 3 varieties of tea in my store from them. A 15-count tea bag set, a 20-count tea bag set, which is a little higher quality, and better, if that one is considered better for hot and cold tea. And then the one I just added yesterday, I wanted to have proper sencha. Hold on, I'll show you. And again, sorry if I'm going on and on about commercial, but this is my video. I can do anything I want, right? Do I still have the package? No, I don't. So, sencha is the loose, well, sencha is what we think about. A lot of people are into matcha. This is the real stuff right here. You know, can you kind of see that without spilling it? That's the real stuff. That's the good stuff right there. Now, I didn't have it in my store like this. All I was selling was group bags, right? Because the reason I was doing that is because I didn't think that people had all the infrastructure, the gear, the teapot, you know, all that stuff to be able to enjoy it. Oh my gosh, that smell. Grown right here. I mean, from the hills right behind me. Anyway, I was at the store buying that. And she was sitting there, and there was a young man, well, they were filling my order. And there was a young man sitting next to me, probably like my daughter's age, and he was there, and she sat me down. The matriarch of the house, the one that knows the friends of my wife, she runs the office, and her husband is the tea master. He runs the facility, and then they've got the daughter who is rising up. She's going to be the 9th generation, and then they hire mothers here that need part-time work around the valley to work there in the afternoon, you know, packaging and stuff like that. It's really good contributing to the community. I love supporting this family. They're great people. Anyway, she sat me down next to this young man, and he and I were talking in Japanese, and he's making these little sweets. His company has these sweets, and they're infusing the sweets with this tea to give it kind of a tea flavor. And he and I were talking, and she came over and she gave me one of those sweets, a little block, very expensive. Gave me a little block, and and I made the mistake. Okay, I remember I was telling you about controlling my reactions. I made the mistake. She always gives me something, right? When I go in, she always makes me a cup of tea and then gives me something, and usually it's pretty expensive stuff, samples and stuff. And she gave me one to take home, and I made, without thinking, I said, "Oh, this is great." I said, "It's really tiny." I said, "I'll go home and I'll cut it in half and I'll share it with Yumiko, my wife." And as soon as I said that, I was like, "Ah, dang it, I wish I hadn't said that." Now, if you know anything about the Japanese, if you ever visit a Japanese person's home, whatever you do, do not compliment anything in their house because they will give it to you. I've had it happen enough times, and other people have told me the same thing. Like if you see something on the wall, like that's a really nice piece of art, right? You're going home with it. That's just the way they operate. I said, as soon as I said that, I said, "Ah, crap." As I saw her get up, go over and get another of this expensive block of sweets. It wasn't, so you see what I mean? It kind of came across like I was like, "Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for giving me this tiny little thing. I'll go home," and like it comes across sarcastic, right? You know, it's not what I meant. What I really meant to say was, I want to share this with Yumiko so she can taste it. And as soon as Yumiko saw it, later she's like, "Oh wow, I want that." So, you know, it was very genuine. So I went home with 2, but that's not the point. I'm not here to tell stories. I'm here to say, how did I respond to that? Well, I responded that #nature. When I say hashtag, I'm talking about principles and objectives from my book. #nature. It's my nature to be talkative. It's also my nature to sometimes say things without thinking about them very clearly or anticipating what's going to come of it. That was exactly what that is. So I relieved myself of the stress by recognizing that's just the way I am. Sure, I could improve. I could be a little more careful about what I say. I'm working on it. And then I used a hashtag one thing slowly, and I slowly composed my thoughts. I didn't try to, you know, brush it over or anything. I simply said, "Oh, thank you very much. I accepted the gift. Let it go," and moved on from there. So that was a little note for that. I do now read a principle from the book. Yesterday, I think I read The Horror Show. And boy, that had a sobering effect on me. I told you yesterday, if you watch this video, that I had a couple of instances, that there's some instances of horror in my life that I couldn't get out of my mind. They were haunting me yesterday, just by virtue of the fact that I brought them up. Horror is real. Today I'm going to talk about 17, principle number 17, called That Which Must Be Borne. This is B-O-R-N-E, as in carried. Now, this is strategic. It comes after the horror show, which comes after the principle called life will not go well. So the 3 go together. Life will not go well. Life will not go well. The horror show, that which must be borne. So think about it this way. life will not go well. Bad things happen. Horror show, sometimes it's absolutely horrible things that happen. Next level. Expect those. That which must be born says you got to live with it much of the time. That which must be born. The sub-principle, hand on the tiller. I deliberately came up with this hand on the tiller thing, imagining a boat in the storm trying to keep its course. Here we go. This is kind of a long one. Life presents us with various burdens of many sorts, tasks, duties, responsibilities, as well as circumstances both apprehended and unexpected, which we must shoulder, lift, and carry, despite our will, want, attitude, health, or even our desire. So you got to do it, even if you don't want to. These are the things which we simply must do to fulfill our living mandate. Sure, some choose to not carry such burdens, though they do so not without consequence. So you can try to avoid those burdens, but there's a price to pay. Therefore, as long as this is what we must be and do and how we must live, then why not press forward with a smile and eyes lifted towards the sun and the stars and the light, which is the better part of our lives? Let us press on despite the weight, move forward in spite of our fatigue, and live on while mindful and feeling and suffering our weak bodies, frail minds, and inevitable consequent death. And then here's the part about the tiller part. I added a separate paragraph for that. Steady the course. No, steady on course in quotation marks. It's a dialogue. Steady on course, declares the master from the deck. Hold the rudder tight against the wind and against current, and your fear and your doubt and upset and sense of drift and loss and ambush even by the forces of seeming nature and the draw of the seeming fates towards the maelstrom at port side and the siren rock starboard. Quick, declares the crew, lash the master to the mast and unstop his ears before we ourselves shut up our own hearing with wax and throw all our weight to hold the ship straight on course. Thus we learn the secrets of the song of the demon sea hags while keeping our vision and direction intact against their sway. Will we soon enough go down and drown within the sea? Of course we will, but not before we first sail like men. Of course, I'm totally invoking the Odysseus's passage with his crew by the siren rocks and the call of the siren, which is the maelstrom of life, right? All the things that happen that constitute the life not going well, and the horror show that we try to just navigate around by holding the course, by plugging our wax, by the crew plugging their wax with ear, while brave Odysseus is lashed to the mast to listen if you can. That's the trick to the siren song and survive. All right, as for today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to list those things. Well, I'm going to finish this, make the listing for that one, head out. Looks like I'm smoking, huh? That's the Katori Senko. I gotta add that to the store too, huh? Katori Senko. Let's see. Isn't this cool? I got my new Katori Senko pig. I found this at the flea market last week. I've been waiting to find one of these. Isn't this just absolutely the best thing in the world? The Katori Senko instant mosquito coil is burning there inside, and it just wafts up this odor. It works great. The mosquitoes don't even bother me up here, usually. So then I'll list. I'll go do radio exercise. I'll come back, walk the dogs, have breakfast, and then I'll work in earnest. It's a Tuesday after all. It's a working day, and I'm a working man. Okay. What do you guys think? Should I add this to the store? Wouldn't that be cool? And I can get these little ones, little pigs like that, and you can have them yourself. Geez, I'm becoming a salesman. I'm even selling stuff in my Good Life meditation these days. It's okay. I'm beyond apologies anymore when it comes to the utilization of my time. Thus is the true and deepest benefit and boon of freedom. I don't know why there's pig shapes there. Lately I've seen other ones. There's cat shapes as well, but I wonder why too. maybe I'll ask ChatGPT. But you know, that's the kind of thing you ask ChatGPT, it'll just make something up with that. In that case, if it doesn't know, you can't trust it. You can't trust it to not make stuff up. Hi, Michael. Hi, Robert. Hi, Evelyn. Hey, Tim. Uh, Tim weighs in. It's 21:37 p.m. 15.7 C and 66, 15.7 and 66. That's pretty damn nice. Just a little bit warmer and you'd be in the green zone all around Tim. That's nice. And Robert is 32 C and 47 humidity. 32, you're hot. And it's hot and it's warm where you are. I like them apples. And 66, beautiful humidity level there. No, 47 for you, Robert. 32 and 47. 47 ain't bad either, though. The moment when brick and mortar became click and order can be very freeing. Well put. The power of saying no is also freeing. Good point. Kim says, the stress part is the absolute killer on anything you do once it grips you. If you can get rid of that, as I found, it's completely liberating and find everything is simply enjoyable. You're absolutely right, Tim. Stress is like it ruins everything, right? It's like too much salt on a meal, right? I mean, you can have just enough. I mean, a little bit of stress is okay because it's motivating again. I'm talking a tiny little bit, right? Just enough to motivate us and help it to correct our course, right? But you just put too much stress on, it's like putting too much salt on anything, and it just spoils it. And like salt, it'll it'll give you heart disease. Good tea matters. Robert, I want to adopt that phrase. I gotta write that down. Good tea matters. Can I steal that? You're right. And this is good tea. Wow, that's a really good phrase. Good tea matters. At work, I was a coffee addict. In retirement, I'm a tea addict. I wonder if that's a reflection of the work stress at the time and now the calmness of retirement and move over to tea. That's an interesting shift, Tim. Wow, I like that. I mean, I like that observation. Hey, Thorhack, you, my friend, are the one that bought up all my tea last night. Morning, and I'm grateful. Morning, champ. Looking forward to those roof leaf Sinshaw. Thanks for the nice story. Even though you're not here to tell stories, I'm not. But I guess this particular video, I have a lot. I can do anything, right? But Thorak, thank you so much. You are not only my first buyer of the loose leaf tea. You know, I don't know if you were here earlier and saw that, but this is what you're getting. You bought. I hope you don't mind me saying. This is what this. Oh my gosh, that smell! Um, you bought just not just one. You bought 5 orders of it, and which is great because that's what eBay's great because it gives you that tiered discount. You know, and on top of the 20% sale, you got a good deal there. That's some good stuff. And I don't have it, so I'm going to be going down. I hope you're okay. I'm going to go down. I have one order to get. I'm trying to get there this afternoon. I should be able to get your order in the mail to you tomorrow. Um, and I'm really looking forward to sending that to you. Thank you so much for being my very first person to purchase the loose leaf tea. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you enjoy it. Shinsha, you bet. Yep. Sarah, hi Sarah. I always wonder why they're pig-shaped. Oh, we talked about that one. And it's good to see you, Sarah. It's good to see you in comments. Kim says, temp is slowly dropping here now, 15C. Well, your temp is dropping. Mine is rising, Kim. Let's see. I don't know if you caught it earlier. I did record the temperature when I started. It was 24 degrees. It's now 25 degrees. It's only gone up a degree. And the temperature before, the humidity before was 84%. It's now 86%. That's interesting. Humidity's going up. Usually it drops as the day unfolds. Thank you, Robert, for giving me permission for leveraging or borrowing or utilizing or stealing. Good tea matters. I've got to write that. I got to make sure I don't forget that. Good tea matters. Good tea matters. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate everybody coming to join me here, and thank you for spending time with me. Your presence helps me to do a better job as I'm being more frank and open about my life and the challenges that I face, which I hope are maybe helpful to others who may be facing similar challenges. After all, we're same species, right? I mean, we all kind of go through the same stuff. And then also the feedback that you give me at the end, your comments, and you're such a nice bunch of people. I really do appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. And now you're coming up with clever marketing terms as well. Good tea matters. Thank you, Evelyn. I really do appreciate you, Evelyn. I was thinking about you yesterday. Little Rudy was sitting here, and he was staring. He looked so content, and I was thinking about, you know, those who look after the animals that need help. And I just want to say thank you for what you do. For those of you that don't know, I don't think Evelyn will mind. Evelyn has spent a good portion of her life alleviating the suffering of animals. And I can't think of a more, oh God, it's practically breaking me up, better utilization of time and life than that, right? What a, that is practically the definition of the definition of, at least my definition of virtue incarnate, as a whiff of smoke rises behind me. Sorry I was a tad greedy. I was excited. No rush on the shipping. Thank you. You weren't greedy. They have plenty of tea. Don't worry about it. They're not going to run out. But what I will tell you, a funny story that did happen. I had made the listing with just 5. I had put 5 in an inventory of 5, because that's my standard thing. When I have an inventory product, I start off with 5. You bought up all 5 of them. So the listing disappeared. I couldn't find it anymore. It took a little hunting to find it. I didn't realize that basically what eBay does is, if you sell out on everything, it closes the listing and moves it into, like it goes off to the cornfield. So I'd never had that happen, and that makes sense, right? Because like if I list this, one of a kind, which I will just after this video, if I list this one of a kind little Tanuki figure and someone buys it, I have nothing to ship it, then I'm not going to ever sell it again. Off to the cornfield. So the Shinchao listing went off to the cornfield. I didn't know the cornfield even existed. And so I got up in the middle of the night. I was like, where did that listing go? And I actually came out at like at 2 o'clock in the morning and opened up the computer because to find it, because it was one of the listing go. I found it and added another I think 10 or 15 items to it, so I can continue selling that item. So I want to thank you. Not only did you buy up all my stock, you helped me to understand better how eBay works, so that I can keep ahead of that and make sure that I keep plenty of inventory on hand. Thank you, and I will be having your order out. And thank you for giving me a day or two on the order. I appreciate that. I have a couple of orders ahead of you. I'll get those out, and then yours will be coming out. Lickety split, I'll be sending you the tracking information. Okay, enough of this business talk. I'm sorry, guys, I keep on going on. I guess this is who I am now. I'm back in business. Look at that sun. Man, it's blazing. Have a great day. Oh, it's good to talk and share thoughts. Have a great day. Thank you, Kim. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Stay safe out there in this summer heat. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, stay warm. Bye-bye.